Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video on my Design and Manage series where we are building the city of Leonor. On the last video we have built this recycling center as well as what is the development of the rural area of the region by placing these farms alongside the coastline of the river. And I think today we can continue where we left off and keep polishing this area with the construction of more farms alongside this national road. I have also built this wind farm, which I'm thinking I'm gonna work on this video, and I think I'm gonna relocate it. I don't like these wind turbines right here over the river. And I think I'm gonna relocate it towards this region, and the reason for that is quite simple. First and foremost, this area is completely useless for urban development because of the air pollution that the recycling center is generating, and also because these wind turbines actually generate power at full capacity on this area. And there's actually quite a large area for us to make a decently sized wind farm. So that's something that I want to do today. After that, I think I will want to move towards this area and start developing something here. And I'm thinking about making some farms, perhaps a small rural community, which can represent an old part of the region. What I have here on my screen is Alta Wind Energy Center, which I believe is the biggest wind farm in all of the United States. This one is actually located in California. And what I want to see here, besides the layout itself, which is quite organic, is actually the spacing between each wind turbine. And according to Google Maps, it seems to be around 100 and 150 meters, so I believe I can use that as a reference point. As for the layout itself, this one seems to contain sets of parallel roads where the wind turbines are placed, and there's quite a lot of empty space in between. I'm definitely not gonna do this in my map because we don't have the space for it pretty much, so I'm gonna do something much more compact. Ah, yes. The sights of a city being powered by the smell of its own garbage. What a sight to behold. This is what I came up with. And I think it looks pretty acceptable, to be honest. So perhaps we should start with the wind farm itself. So as you can see, it looks nothing like what we've seen on Google Maps, Alta Energy Center. This one is much more compact. But I've started by making a grid, which was 200 by 200 meters. You saw me do that in the time-lapse using dirt roads. And I've done that just so I made sure that every single turbine was equidistant to one another. Then I've just deleted the roads that were not necessary because we don't need to have that many roads to provide support and access to each individual turbine for maintenance. Just a normal road with a set of perpendicular roads where the turbines are located is pretty much enough, I believe. And we're now producing almost 120 megawatts out of a 30 megawatt production, which means we should, in theory, be exporting 90 megawatts of energy, but that's pretty much not what's happening. We're only exporting around 8. I don't really know why this is happening. I'm pretty sure it's not the transfer station, because this one is only being used at 10% for whatever reason. But until I figure that one out, I think I'm going to disable some wind turbines, because since we're not exporting all that extra energy, we're actually not making any money out of it, and we're actually running at a loss. So I'm going to disable quite a few of them so we get our production in place, and then I will enable them later on as the city demands for it. Oh, I think I found out what's going on. Is actually this road, it has a bottleneck. It's only allowing for the passing of 40 megawatts. So I think we need to fix this. I think I can solve this by placing a transformer station somewhere and rerouting all the energy to that station. So I think I'm going to build it right here and see how well that works out. So over here would probably be acceptable. Okay, now I need to reroute or link every single one of these wind turbines to this thing over here. And I need to be mindful that the dirt roads only allow for 40 megawatts and each electric cable only allows for 80. So I think I'm gonna have to build a couple of these. I actually think there's a very simple way to solve the issue, which is by grabbing the electric cable, and perhaps we can make a line that goes alongside this entire thing. And there are some overlapping items on the way. Okay, and now we can connect every single one of these roads to this particular line. Perhaps we can put it on the second square. If each of these electric cables have a 80 megawatt capacity and each wind turbine generates 5 megawatts, each line can hold the power for 16 wind turbines. So I think I will need more than just one electric cable. So I think I'm going to reserve this electric cable for these rows of turbines, and then I'll have to build a second cable for these roads. So I'm actually going to delete everything after this. And I'm gonna build another electric cable here that will connect to this. Now we have a capacity of 160 megawatts, so 80 for each of these lines. And now we need to connect them to this transformer station. Each transformer station only allows for 80 megawatts, so if we have two power lines with a capacity of 80 each for a total of 160, I will have to build two of these things. So this is actually not gonna work. Let me just rotate this thing again. Let me extend this dirt road, build another one of these things. Okay, over here should be fine. And now I need to make some connections. So I think I'm gonna bring this power line here. and then connect it here. And I also think I'm gonna split it and connect another hand over here. And my reasoning for this is, since this power line has a capacity of 80 megawatts and the road only allows for 40 megawatts, by splitting this in half, I will have this part of the road handling 40 megawatts flowing into the transformer station via this connecting point here, and this part of the road leading the remaining 40 megawatts. So if everything goes according to plan, power should be split equally and perfectly. Let me do the same thing here for this other line. Okay, and now I just need to connect these with some high voltage cables. And a simple connection should suffice. And let's make an outside connection and see if we can actually start exporting stuff. And I'm gonna use Anarchy so that I can build this power line out of the city limits. Okay, there we go. Let me resume the simulation. And let me enable all of these turbines all over again and see if we can export some power. Well, look at this. We are now exporting 86 megawatts, which is the exact difference between what we're producing and what we're consuming. So we're now able to export all the excess power that we're generating. And it seems that these power lines are still not being used, but I'm assuming that will change when we generate more power and I upgrade all of these wind turbines, which will pretty much almost double the capacity. And it seems that also the split is working, so if I select different segments of the road, this one has a flow of 40 megawatts, this one also has a flow of 40 megawatts, but this one only has 15, and this little segment has 21, so these are actually different. So yeah, we seem to be having a very good solution for the time being. And look at the amount of money that we're now making out of the electricity exportation. And later on I will want to bring these power lines and extend them towards this area and connect them to the city as well, and also to the rural area that we'll be building over here. And perhaps even towards this side of the map as well. We can easily make a power line towards this area. But anyway, I spend way too much time explaining this wind farm. And I haven't even touched the other areas, the other things that I've done, so we can touch on that right now. I've pretty much completed the entire coastal area with some additional farms and also forestry industry as well. I've tried to mix in different types of farms and try to make it as varied as possible. I think it created a very nice effect. What we have here right alongside the recycling center is a forestry industry, a normal one with these warehouses for logs, which I believe are empty and available for rent, which is unfortunate. These manually placed buildings sometimes don't get occupied right away, which is a shame. So I think we'll just have to wait a little bit, perhaps, and they will get filled eventually. I hope so. But other than that, I continued the development here. I also built this manually placed zoned industry for silos, which I think look very realistic for a farming district. I have initially placed them over here, as you probably see in the time-lapse, but eventually I thought that wasn't a good idea because I used this groundwater pumping station, and I remembered that the zone buildings actually generate some ground pollution, and I would pretty much be polluting the water supply here, which would not be ideal. So I replaced it with these UK style houses, which I think look good. I'm not gonna... Oh, and look at the people walking here. Yeah, I really need to work on public transport. But that's something that we'll have to build later on. We now have this thing, the traffic routes, and we can see where people are going. And it seems all of the... Are they walking outside of the town? Why would they do that? Well, anyway, I'm not gonna question that. Eventually we'll build public transport and international connections and all that good stuff. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm not building quite a bunch of these buildings because I'm assuming nobody wants to live in a place with very hard access and also no schools and no medical clinics, etc. Then we have another community here. I actually extended the roads towards this side to make a custom plantation and also this livestock farm with these UK buildings as well, a greenhouse. Then the custom texture for grass, which simulates a different type of crop, I would suppose. Then I just kept going, and over here we have placed another set of waterfront housing alongside this coast. So just to simulate a little bit what I have done on this area of the map, but of course these houses here are not gonna be as valuable as the other ones because they're far away from the city center and they also have less services as well. Towards this side I'm still not sure what I'm gonna build. I will have to unlock the sewage water treatment plant somewhere in the future, and perhaps this could be a good location for it. I'm not gonna do it right now because it's quite a costly asset. It costs about 400,000 to place, which is insane. I also built a custom intersection. This is not an interchange, it's just an intersection. I didn't find the need to create a custom interchange because this is basically the intersection of two national roads, and this one is gonna lead to the rural area of the city, which is not gonna have a lot of traffic. So something like this is more than enough. And what I've done here is actually something pretty simple. It's a combination between three different types of road. First we have the 2-lane road, which is a normal road. Then it converts to a 4-lane, which is this one. And then for these areas here we have the 5-lane asymmetric highway. And I've done it in a way that if you are driving here, you have a lane that appears on the right side that is dedicated if you wanna turn right here, obviously. The middle lane is for people who want to keep moving forward, and then we have a third lane hopping on over here that is dedicated for people who want to turn left. This way, and the way I've done it, people who want to move forward, they can just remain on the same lane and they will be able to move forward without any interference. And people who want to go right or left can do so without interfering with the people who want to keep moving forward. And now that I look at it, I think we can even make it better. Perhaps I can ease the connection between these roads. So let me add a connecting point here, a connecting point here, and a connecting point here. I'm gonna turn this into a 4-lane, this into a 4-lane as well, and this into the 4-lane asymmetric road. Okay, now I can delete these segments and I can make some dedicated on and off ramps. So this one I can build here. Okay, cool, and now I need to do the same here. Okay, and now I need to make some prohibitions. So here you cannot turn left. You are also not allowed to make a right turn here because you have a lane dedicated for that. And you are also not allowed to turn right here because you have a lane dedicated for that here. Let's just extend this further a little bit. Okay, cool. This thing is a bit janky on some areas, but other than that, I think this is pretty cool for vanilla standards. Well, I do have the road builder mod installed, but I'm not using it, and I want to refrain from doing so until there's something that I really want to do, until there's something that absolutely requires it. I think what I've built here is fine. I was taking a look at some farm designs and there was something that caught my attention. So I'm taking a look at Salzburg, which is a city in Austria, but I'm not interested in, the core downtown area of Austria. I'm actually interested in a particular street, which is this street over here. It's called this thing. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Austrian viewers. But what's peculiar about this is that it's a single road with a lot of houses zoned or built adjacent to it, and then we have several farm plots behind the houses extending away from the road perpendicular to it. And I think this is something that I want to replicate on this city. Perhaps I can do that because it fits the topography of the map and we have quite a significant landmass to fill. Let me just get closer and up into the street just to take a closer look at it. And look at how friendly this thing is. It's a simple road, you know, a 2-lane road with houses right next to it. And it's super friendly and quiet. But I'm assuming it has a lot of traffic as well, because it's basically connecting, you know, two different regions together. Or maybe not. I am going to buy these 3 tiles, which will have quite a significant cost, half of the money that we have right now. But it's gonna be worth it because I think I'm gonna extend this road. And this is the road where we are gonna build the farms, and we're gonna have the farm spreading towards this direction, also towards this direction. I think I am gonna grab a road and I'm gonna make a segment here. And now this road can be converted into a normal 2-lane. Let me just disable this thing, the little square, so that I can upgrade the road to be perfectly centered to the avenue axis, like this. Now I'm gonna extend it all the way over here. And I also think I want to continue this national road and curve it out around here and then intersect perpendicular to this road. So let's do that. And I think I'm gonna be forced to use Anarchy over here, because I'm definitely not gonna buy this tile just to build a little piece of road. Okay, I think this is an acceptable looking curve. Let's upgrade all of these to a national road or to a highway. And with this, I think we're ready to start building the first houses. So I'm gonna grab the UK low density detached housing, because I think these are the types of buildings that will look the best in this type of rural layout. And I think I wanna make some small houses, perhaps 4x4s is enough. So I don't know, perhaps the farms can start here. I think that's far away enough from the city center. So let's do that, and I think on this side I'm gonna start a little bit late, perhaps here, and I'm gonna zone here. That particular street in Salzburg actually had some small segments of road that would detach themselves from the main road to provide more housing space. So I think I want to replicate that as well, because I think that's a nice effect. And we can even make some diagonal roads as well. I think this is a good start, so now we can start zoning all of these with some more housing. And for the ones on the side, I think I'm gonna go 3 deep, or 3 blocks deep. I think I'm also gonna extend this street all the way here, and I'm gonna do the same here so that they can intersect somewhere in the middle. So this is just for another travel option for the people. And on this intersecting point, perhaps we can connect directly to the highway, like this. Now I think we can start planning out our farms, and I'm gonna use a gravel road as a guideline. I know this is probably not gonna make much sense right now, but it will later on, so just trust me. I'm gonna make a road here. Let me delete this diagonal road, I don't really like it. But now I think I can start making some guidelines, and these will be our farm delimiters. So these are just to delimit the limits of our farms. And just to help things a little bit better, I am also gonna make some roads alongside the buildings. And I need to make sure not to delete anything. Okay, and you're probably thinking right now, what the hell is this guy doing? Just trust me on this one, because now I am gonna finally make the farms. So let's start with, I don't know, perhaps a grain farm, and let's put it here. I'll have to delete this piece of road for the time being. Okay, over here, and these guys are gonna get pissed off, but that's fine. They are farming houses. They just have to accept it. And now I'm gonna use the edges of the roads to make my farm. And that will allow me to make a perfectly aligned farm. Now the next one can probably be in this little gap. So now let's make a forestry industry type of farm. And for this one, I think I'm gonna grab a little piece of road. Gonna bring it here. And I'm gonna place it here instead. So now we can make a vegetable farm over here. And I'm actually gonna continue my paved road again, but I think I'm gonna convert it into a dirt road. And I'm gonna bring it here, and now we can adjust the these things and wrap it at around there. And now this is where the magic will happen, or so I believe, and I really hope this turns out alright, otherwise I'm gonna look stupid. But I'm gonna delete this road, and I am gonna start placing my tree delimiters, and hopefully this will look super cool. So I'm using oaks and of course some birch in between as well. Okay, let's do the rest of these and see how it looks. Alright, I think we have something going on here, and this has the potential to look really cool, I believe. So let's just keep polishing this area and see how far we can go in this video. I'm gonna put some grass all the way across this road, as well as some trees, just to make this area much prettier. Let's just keep going. I think we can change the orientation of the crops as well, just to keep it interesting and varied. So the next farm that we place, this textile fiber farm, we can put it here on a perpendicular road. Okay, I think that works. And this can be forestry, I suppose, and I think we can make all of this forestry. And here we can make a tree plantation. I think that's the only thing that we haven't built yet. So let me get rid of all of these trees. Now let's put a row of apple trees. For this side of the road in particular, I'm still not sure where I want the farms to end, because as I've mentioned, I want to place this or turn this into a very dense area, and I also don't want to buy an additional tile just for this. So for the time being, I think I'm going to make my setting guideline at around here, and this is where the farms can end. So I'm going to start placing some farms on this side as well. Another thing that we can do, and now that I'm thinking about it, is continue this type of styling that we're building towards this road as well, and turn this into a perpendicular farming street as well. That's gonna have farms spreading towards this direction. So for that to work, we need to upgrade this into a street as well. So let's do that. Okay, this forestry is gonna give me a little bit of trouble, so let me just adjust the contours of this this farm. Let's upgrade this, and perhaps we can upgrade this as well. And we can continue this road and intersect it with this, and this is where the highway, or the national road, so to say, can turn into a residential area. So let's also grab a roundabout, and we can put a small indication here. Perhaps this is too small. Let's go one step larger, like this. Okay. And of course now we need to place grass and also trees on the sides of the road as well. All of these roads that we have here, these intersecting roads, we can continue them as they will serve as intersecting points. And these don't have to be perfectly aligned with one another. We can have some oblique roads here. That's fine. That contributes to the intricacies of the rural area. I also want to put some commercial here on this main street, because even though this is a rural area, it needs some shops for people to go buy their groceries nonetheless. So I think 4x4 are potentially way too large for this, so let's make them a bit smaller. Okay. And over here as well. I'm gonna keep working on these farms, polish them a bit more, and I will meet you guys shortly to show you what I've done. Alright, so a lot of stuff was done, a lot of progress was made. So let's just take a closer look at each individual section of my recent creation. I have completely fleshed out this area on the main road that we initially started. I like the fact that towards the right side it starts small and then it gets more dense and more urbanized as we get closer to the intersection of both main roads. It kind of represents a core or simulates a central hub for this community. So perhaps this can actually be the area where we put the more significant buildings like a school or a medical clinic, for example. Then, as I've mentioned, I've also started working in this side of the road towards the hill, which made it a bit challenging, but I also think it's a bit realistic for some rural areas to be developed on some more mountainous regions. And on top of the hill I've put this church. I'm still not sure if this can be the final place for it. Historically, churches are usually built at high places, you know, in Europe at least. So it kind of works like a cemetery and it's actually working. I know I'll want to put it somewhere around at the top of this hill. I'm just not sure if this will be the final location for it. But yeah, I've just continued the same logic. We have some custom farms, some tree plantations, a mix in between agriculture, forestry and also livestock farms. Going towards the central area, I've put a water tower in this dead space because no agricultural or rural area is complete without one of these, I believe. And we also have some zone buildings here. This is the generic silos, just like I've done on the other side of the map in the first farms. And there's quite a bit of combination of roads here. I try to make it space efficient and at the same time interesting as well. Then I have progressed and started doing some development alongside this main highway as well. But unlike what we've done here on this area, I didn't zone directly on the highway. I think I'll want to keep this highway free of zoning because it will be nice to have at least one freeway that can direct high density traffic from around this area towards this area besides this one. So I have simply placed a road alongside it and that's where I've done the zoning on both sides of the highway. I also built our main power lines through here. I thought this was an adequate location for it. And somewhere around this area we are going to connect it to another transformer station to provide power to this entire region. And it also keeps going forward here to the rural area where we can extend these power lines through the farms until this region. I have extended the rural area all the way past the recycling center and up until this avenue, just to maximize the space because I wasn't sure what I was going to build here anyway. I also need to think how I want to make the transition between this rural area over here and also the metropolitan area. In other words, how I'm going to fill this central area with the roundabout. I have some road structure already defined, but we need to do something on this area as well. On these roads, perhaps we can put some service buildings like the bus depot, the taxi depot, some stuff like that. I think those types of buildings are adequate for this type of transition. It's currently fall and that's why these trees have these yellowish tone to them, which I actually like how it looks during this time of the year. I think it actually looks better than during the summer where everything is green. But speaking of trees, I might have gone a little bit overboard with the vegetation here. I don't think we have placed too many trees, that's not what I'm trying to say, but I think we've placed too many bulk trees like these oaks, so perhaps in the future we can replace some of these bulkier oaks with some thinner trees to complement this area and make it more breathable, I suppose. But other than that, I think we have a very good foundation here, and I actually think it's time for us to start making some districts and start satisfying the needs of these people because a lot of them are complaining about healthcare already. So let's do that. Now we have Holy Creek, Crescent Terrace, Butler Ridge, Hillside Way, Cherrytown, Primrose Springs, Brightwater Meadows, and Spring Gardens. And I'm actually gonna rename some of these districts. This is gonna be Sapling Wind Farm, of course, and this is gonna be the Sapling Recycling Center. And I'm gonna change the name of the building as well. As for the names of the other districts, I'm gonna keep them as they are. I was already given some suggestions by you guys for names, but I'm gonna hold on for the time being. What I wanna do now is check the needs of everybody here. So these ones are complaining about healthcare, of course, elementary school and internet service. This one, the same thing pretty much, and also some high noise pollution. That's because of the farms. So I think the biggest concern here is healthcare. One of the things that we can do is place a medical center here to address the medical needs of all of these people. And I think I'm going to keep with the theme that we've been using, and I'm going to use the UK medical clinic. And now I just need to find a suitable location for it. And I'm thinking this core area, as I've mentioned, could potentially be the best place for that. So I think I'm going to reserve this little square here for that. Okay, this is a large playground, I'm not going to delete that. And it seems that everything became dark because winter has arrived, which I don't really like, so I'm going to change the climate to summertime. And now we can see how this area looks during the summer as well, with the luscious green vegetation. But anyway, let's just put this thing. I think I'm going to place it right here, I suppose. Let's see if I can relocate this so we can avoid this ledge of this change in elevation. That's a bit annoying. I just spent a lot of money relocating this, but that's fine. And the extensions of these things all remain in the same area, which is fine, so we don't need to think about extensions. But now let's apply some operating districts. So Holy Creek, Butler Ridge, Crescent Terrace, Hillside Way. We can also go to Cherrytown. And you know what? Perhaps we can cover this area as well. Another thing that people are complaining is internet coverage. So perhaps we can put a tower here. And oh yeah, there's no coverage at all. And I can even put a large telecom tower. Wow, look at this, gigantic. So maybe like this. Let's make an access road. Okay, that works for the time being. These guys are now super happy. And I think the only main thing that they're still complaining about is the lack of an elementary school. I am gonna place one in the future, but I'm still not sure where, so I'm gonna refrain from providing that service for the time being. What we can do, however, is actually think about fire, because we only have one firehouse, which is right on the other side of the map, and I think this area, because it is a forestry dedicated industry, needs its own fire fighting solutions. Unfortunately, there's no United Kingdom firehouse, so I think I'm gonna just place a regular one. And I think a good area for it would be right here, I suppose. Okay, nice. Let's assign it a district. And it's also a bit weird that we have a firehouse on top of the dirt road. This type of service needs very quick access, so I'm gonna convert this road to a proper paved road. Because this area is super dense in vegetation and it's forestry related, it also makes sense to add this fire watchtower. And I want to put it on a tall spot as well. Okay, it's a bit too close to the radio tower, but I think it will work. We'll also need to place a police station here because this area is red when it comes to general safety. But just like the elementary school, I'm still not sure where I'm gonna place this building, so I'm not gonna place it just yet. In the future, perhaps we can extend the rural area towards the riverside over here and make the core of the rural area in this region, and that's where we're gonna place these services. But for the time being, I'm gonna refrain from doing so. But anyway, guys, that will be it for today. I think that's enough progress for one video. And I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, take care.